Hey everyone, Hope It Falls here, and today is going to be a pretty long video. So in this one, I'm going to have 26 different animes that I'm going to talk about and how I rated them and so on. So basically, the reason why it's 26 is I chose one anime on Crunchyroll for each letter of the alphabet. The rules for this were that it had to be an anime for each letter of the alphabet. I must watch the entire anime, so it wasn't really fun for some of them. And I tried to pick the ones that keyword tried to pick the ones that a lot of people didn't know. So My Hero Academia, as you can see in the background, is not going to be on this list because basically everybody knows that. And if I decided to put an anime on the list that I've seen before making the list, that's fine, but I try not to put as many, as I thought of on the list. Or I could just choose another one. But some of these on the list I have already seen before putting them on. Anyways, so with that out of the way, actually, before I continue, I almost forgot. There will be spoilers in this video, so if you don't want to be spoiled for any of these, I am going to put down the names of some of them. Not some of them, sorry, all of them. I'm going to put down the names of all of them in the description below, so if you want, you can check them out. Some of them also have manga that I have read, so I know what happens in the manga. I'll try not to go deep into the manga. I'll try to focus only on the anime. Alright, with that out of the way, let's start with letter A, which is called A Destructive God Sits Next to Me. So the premise for this is high school student Koyuki Seri has a disposition for whipping out witty retorts, but hates people who wait for those retorts. Much to his dismay, he had caught the eye of Hanadori Kabuto, who suffers from a terrible case of delusions of grandeur, and everything about him would warrant a retort. Siri swears that he will never utter a retort about Kabuto, but he just can't hold back. Not to mention, there seem to be even more strange people gathering around him. A high school's boys' comedy that will make you laugh and laugh, but can also be cute at times, is about to start. So I gave this an 8 out of 10. It's been a while since I've watched this one. I do remember it being pretty funny, and it's a cute little anime that if you want to watch, if you're bored, I would recommend it. I thought that the characters worked well off each other, and I like the designs too. Each one of them has a pretty interesting design, so you can tell who's who pretty easily. So I would say if you're bored and you're looking for something to watch on Crunchyroll, I would probably choose this one too. B is going to be pretty long because I put down one of my favorite animes, and I call it Bungo Stray Dogs, but apparently it's pronounced Bungo Stray Dogs, and I just realized that the other day. So I'm just probably still going to call it Bungo because that's how I always pronounce it. I'll try and say Bungo, but I'm probably still going to go back to saying Bungo. So for the premise of this, I put, kicked out of his orphanage and on the verge of starving to death, Nakajima Atsushi meets some strange men. One of them, Daze Osamu, is a suicidal man attempting to drown himself in broad daylight. The other, the skeptical Kunikita Dobo, who is my favorite character of the show, nervously stands by, flipping through a notepad. Both are members of the Armed Detective Agency, said to involve incidents that even the military and police won't touch. Atsushi ends up accompanying them on a mission to eliminate a man-eating tiger that's been terrorizing the population. That entire premise that they put on Crunchyroll basically only explains, the first episode of the show. And I rate this a 10 out of 10. So, pretty long explanation of why I like it. I love most of the characters. Even the characters I don't like Fyodor and Gide, and later on in the manga, Fukuchi, who is getting introduced in season 4, which is coming out next year, the first month. And I kind of don't want to wait that long, but I'm really excited to see it animated. But even though I don't like Fyodor, and I know I'm probably going to get a bunch of comments saying, why don't you like him? Because a lot of people in the fandom love him. I just don't like the stuff he does. Like, he has a pretty cool accent, and he's written well. I will admit that he is written well. But all the things he does, I don't like at all. I don't like how in the 3rd season he made a plan for Kunikita to suffer. That scene was rough. I can not rewatch that scene, and there's another scene in season 2 that I cannot rewatch. Speaking of season 2, I really wish that, Oda was still alive. I mean, everybody wishes that, because that was also painful. The show can be pretty painful, especially what's happening in the manga, but I won't delve too deep into that one. I think one of my favorite seasons is probably, like, the 2nd or the 3rd. Fun fact, I did not realize that they were named after authors until, the last episode of season 1, and Fitzgerald just starts walking in, spouting old sport like 50 billion times. But I also got introduced to Edgar Allan Poe, who is my 2nd favorite character, next to Kunikita. Kunikita needs hugs. Everybody needs hugs in this show, honestly. They go through so much pain. But it's definitely one of my favorite shows, and they have so many things, like, when it comes to the manga. For instance, you have the regular manga, which I have most of them of except for like 13 to 15, because apparently no bookstores I go to want to carry those volumes. You have light novels, which I really like this one, but I think the 3rd one is my favorite. There's also a movie called Dead Apple, and they're making it into a manga as well. I have to speak about that later on in a second. They have another story, which has this new character. I forgot his name. You have the Beast alternate universe, where Akutagawa joined the armed detective agency while Atsushi was in the Port Mafia. You have the one, which is really cute, and that's basically the fandom, trying to recuperate from what's happening. And I have a good amount of these. You can also tell that it's one of my favorite because I have a Kunikita pillow. Incredibly soft. You can get it off of Amazon. And an Akutagawa plushie. I'm not going to go on what happens in the manga to this poor guy. What else? Another thing I have to think about is in the Dead Apple movie, I don't understand how Fyodor learned about Atsushi. Like, how did he know about him? Why would he tell Shibuzawa to go after him? But another thing is, why would he tell Fitzgerald to go after him? Why does he think, or why does he tell everybody Atsushi knows about the book? So basically, in the show, all of these people are after this book, where if you write in it, apparently, it will come, like, anything that you write in it will come true. Which is really scary, compared to what happens in the show. What else do I have? It's really, really good. Honestly, I would highly recommend it. You need to watch it or read the manga or something. The show is great. I watched it in the dub. I heard that the sub was really good, but the dub is actually pretty good as well. So I need to stop talking about it for now, because if I continue talking, it will take this video probably like 5 hours, because I will not stop talking about this show because I love it so much. Alright, so for C, I have Cells at Work, and the premise for this is a story about you. A tale about the inside of your body. According to a new study, the human body consists of approximately 37 trillion cells. These cells are hard at work every day within a world that is your body. From the oxygen-carrying red blood cells to the bacteria-fighting white blood cells. Get to know the unsung heroes and the drama that unfolds inside of you. I give this one a 10 out of 10 because I really enjoyed it. I heard that it was a really good anime, and I'm kind of upset that it took me this long to watch it. I was recommended it to me. It was recommended it to me from one of my friends, and I was like, I might as well just put that down for C. Really good. I'm really glad I watched it. I heard it's really good, so my expectations were high, and it did not disappoint. I really liked all the characters. I feel like I learned more about this than about the body than in my, biology class back in high school. There is one thing I don't understand. So they're all in the body, right, of this one person. It's the same person. This one person goes through so much crap. I can't think of the word, but it's like starts with an H. Shock, like hyper something shock. So he goes through that. He goes through cancer twice. He gets sick a lot. What happens? Oh, he gets acne a lot. I don't understand how this guy is still alive. He should be dead. With everything he goes through, oh my god, I feel like he should be dead. And how dare they, in the first episode, make me feel bad for a cancer cell? How dare they? Like, I felt so bad for it, and why do I feel bad for a cancer cell? I'm not supposed to feel bad for a cancer cell. But anyways, I would highly recommend this too if you haven't watched it. It is one of the more popular animes out there, and I can see why. It's really well, and I hope they make a season 3. Alright, for number 2, D. Whoops. For letter D, I put down DRAMAtical Murder. The premise for this one is the story revolves around a young man named Aoba who works in a junk shop. Recently, an online cyber game called Rhyme became popular on the island he lives on. Though Aoba has no interest in Rhyme, he is somehow pulled into it. Without knowing it, his peaceful days have come to an end. So I give this one an 8 out of 10. I hated the opening. I'm sorry, it's just the music was bad and made me want to rip my ears out, and it kind of sucks because the anime itself was actually really good. Like in my opinion, it was. So this one is apparently based off of a game, and it's spicier than what the actual anime is. I have never heard of this game before. I might look it up one day, but maybe not today because I'm too lazy. But for this, I put this one down because I thought the premise would be very interesting. Some parts were a bit confusing, like real life or in the game. The thing that really got me was the ending. So apparently this whole time Aoba had a twin, and we don't know this. He doesn't know this. Nobody knows about this until you get to the end. And the best part is, the twin dies at the end. Aoba finally meets his twin, finally discovers he has a twin, and he meets him, and then the twin dies. Like, why would you do that? Why would you write that? That's just awful. At least, like, his robot dog, I'm pretty sure it was, Ren, he's alive. He's alive, and now he's a human, I think, or just like a regular robot. I don't know, it was pretty confusing near the end, and it just ends. There's no season 2 or anything. It was just like, oh, he's still alive, but his twin is dead. It was a show. I don't know about rewatch it, but I am glad I watched it once because it's pretty out there. It was enjoyable for the most part. The ending was just... Okay, for E, I put down Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. The premise for this is Uchi Tama is forced into an awkward living situation at his uncle's house after his parents pass away. He decides that when he goes to high school, he's going to live on his own and finds an ultra-cheap apartment named Kotobukiso. But it was a monster apartment filled with monsters, humans, and ghosts. At first, Yushi doesn't know how to deal with these eerie monsters, but after spending time with these strange creatures, his closed heart gradually begins to open. Okay, so I give this one an 8 out of 10. It's been a while since I've seen this, but from what I remember, I think the reason that I really liked this one was because it was a nice slice of life, which I need after all the other animes I watched where everything is just going downhill. Like, not in, like, in a bad way. I mean, like, everybody is suffering in a way. So I also thought that the yokai in the show had pretty interesting designs, pretty good designs, pretty interesting personalities. And Yushi's friend, Hase, I loved that guy. He was definitely one of my favorite characters. And I do remember vividly in a scene near the ending of the show. I think it was the second to last episode. Apparently, they went through like time traveling doors, and well, not exactly time traveling doors, basically like alternate universes. So for one of them, there was a universe where apparently Hase and Yushi weren't friends in it, and Hase literally told Yushi that he doesn't want this universe, even if he's big and successful. He doesn't want a future without Yushi in it. And I loved that scene. I thought it was really precious. And I actually might rewatch this show because I wanna remember what happened in it because it was so long ago since I've watched it. I recommend this one, honestly. I think if you want like a nice little slice of life anime, I would recommend this one. I think it is like about 13 episodes, so it's not really long. It's pretty short. Alright, for F, I put Fire Force. Tokyo is burning, and citizens are mysteriously suffering from spontaneous human combustion all throughout the city. Responsible for snuffing out this inferno is the Fire Force, and Shinra is ready to join their fight. Now, as part of Company 8, he'll use his devil's footprints to help keep the city from turning into ash. But his past and a burning secret behind the scenes could set everything ablaze. I know a lot of people like this one, but I give this one a 5 out of 10 for me. I don't know why, but like I really like the concept. I thought the concept was really interesting. I really wanted to like this one, but for some reason I could not get into it. Like the animation was nice. The concept was interesting. I don't know. Something felt off to me about this show, and I don't know how to explain it. Like the characters were okay, I guess, but I don't know. The main character just I don't know, didn't feel right to me. Something didn't feel right to me, so I couldn't really watch it. I mainly like used it as background noise. I would occasionally glance over to see like the really nice animation, but it just wasn't for me. So for G, I put Given. The premise for this one is somehow the guitar that he used to love to play in the basketball games that he found so fun just lost their appeal. That was until Ritsuka, I'm so sorry for pronouncing this name probably horribly wrong, Yuan Noyama randomly met Mafuyu Sato. Ritsuka had started losing his passion for music in his everyday life, but then he heard Mafuyu sing for the first time. The song resonates with his heart, and the distance between them starts to change. I rate this one a 9 out of 10. Oh my god. This show will basically rip your heart out and stomp on it, while at the same time making you smile. It is a whirlwind of emotions. I am so glad I watched it. I cried so much watching it. Really great story. It can be really cute at some times, and then the next thing you're just on the floor in a ball sobbing. Oh my gosh, it's really good. Unfortunately, I have not seen the movie yet, because apparently there's a movie. I've only watched the first season. I need to rewatch it and then watch the movie, but then again, I'm probably just gonna start crying after watching it. Because, oh my god, it was really good. It was really good, and if you're looking for something emotional and something really good, I would suggest this. Just like bring a giant box of tissues with you. Alright, for H, I put How to Keep a Mummy. The premise for this one was Kashiwagi Sora is living a normal high school student life when his adventurer father sends him a mummy from his travels in Egypt. Sora balks at the letter from his crazy dad, which says, I found a cool mummy, so I decided to leave it with you, son. At first. But the mummy that emerges from inside the huge coffin is a mere 12 centimeters tall, small enough to fit in the palm of his hand. Not only that, it's shy, a crybaby, and most of all, heckin' cute. And so Sora ends up keeping the mummy, naming his little buddy Mikan. But living with a mummy might be easier said than done, and I give this one a 9 out of 10. I don't understand how, I need more people to watch this show. It's so cute. It's such a cute little show. I love it so much. It's one of the cutest shows I've ever seen in my entire life. And they also come across with other small creatures too. They're probably maybe this big, and they're so cute. And all the other characters too. They work off so well off each other. And oh my gosh, I wish it was longer. It's only 12 episodes long. I need a season 2. It's so cute. I highly recommend this one if you're looking for something cute. Just please, it needs more people to appreciate it. Alright, for I is Idolish 7. The premise for this one is a group of aspiring idols gather at Takanashi Productions and are entrusted with the company's future. The 7 men who have just met represent a variety of totally different personalities. However, they each have their own charm and possess unknown potential as idols. Forming a group, they take their first step together as Idolish 7. The brilliantly shining dancing forms on stage eventually begin to captivating the hearts of the people. In the glorious but sometimes harsh world of idols, they aim for the top with dreams in their hearts. Oh boy, this one. I gave this a 10 out of 10. This is basically the definition of don't judge a book by its cover. I've seen an idol anime before this one, and I remember it's just mainly songs, mainly them singing. Not enough episodes to get everybody a personality and stuff. I'm like, okay, so maybe there will be good music. I could just listen to it, mainly just while doing other things. Probably glance back at it again. Oh boy, was I wrong. So this is based off a game that's apparently, I'm pretty sure, only available in Japan. There's no English version of it, so I looked up the story, the main story for it. I read ahead, I looked at their English translations, and this show is something else. And if anybody puts in the comments, what about ensemble stars, that is a whole other can of worms to open. And Idolish 7, I'm pretty sure from what's in the anime so far to how far I've read, there are 5 different murder attempts in this show. I'm pretty sure the first one was in season 1 where Sogo tries to throw a computer at a guy. And yes, everybody in this show needs therapy. Yamato especially. He walks in the first episode, says, I'm only here for revenge. And then you find out later what the revenge is in season 3, which he also strangles Yuki in season 3, almost kills that guy. What's another murder? Oh, Momo loses his voice in season 2, so that was fun. Sogo has been, what is the word? Oh yeah, disowned by his father because he wanted to go into music. What's in the, 10 kind of left the family. I understand, but why did he have to go with Kujo? Kujo is one of the worst characters. He's well written, but I hate that man. But not as much as Tsukumo. Tsukumo tries to kill Momo later on, so that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun to see animated, which is coming out. It's gonna be in the second part of season 3, and that's coming out in October. So I'm very excited for that. Yeah, but Kujo, no. To my 2 friends who watch the show with me, they do not like Kujo. Well, not just Kujo. They don't like 10 at all. I think 10 is kind of in the middle. He gets better, and then I think he gets worse, and then I think he gets better, then I think he gets worse. But at least he knows that something is wrong with Kujo later on. Unlike Aya, Tamaki's sister, who still insists to be with him. But I just want to, like, reach in and just, like, shake her. Like, just shake some sense into her. She doesn't, like, she doesn't deserve Tamaki as a brother. Tamaki is so much better than Kujo, but she's like, no, I want to stay with Kujo. No, Kujo doesn't deserve anybody. Honestly. Why can't he get arrested? There's all this crap. I just don't like this man. Even 10 figures out something is wrong with him later on, but Aya still, like, blissfully innocent or whatever. It's Tamaki, like, please, like, everybody was saying, why, like, telling Aya, why are you still with this man? This man is the worst. He literally calls, oh God, Haruka a failed project. Haruka doesn't need him. Haruka's better. But seriously, I just, strength. What else is wrong? What else is with the show? Nagi. I love Nagi. I need a season 4, because in part 4, oh my god, there's another murder attempt in that one. Oh my gosh, there's so many murder attempts. I didn't think there was going to be this many murder attempts in this show. And there's also that scene where a stage light falls on Banri, then he disappears forever, causing Momo to, you know, become their new rival with Yuki. Honestly, they're so cute. And then there's also Trigger, who Gaku's father was such a jerk in the first season. He got better. So I honestly think he got better as the seasons went on. But Tsukumo, I want to throw off a cliff. He is definitely my least favorite character. He is awful. Again, he's written well. He is written well, but I just want to, like, oh God, I don't know what to do. Yamato should have strangled him. Yamato definitely needs therapy. Yamato is the one that needs the most therapy out of all of these people, but everybody needs therapy in the show. Everybody needs a hug. They go through so much crap. I do remember one of my favorite parts in season 2 is where Tamaki is mad at Sogo, and Sogo is at his door and saying, oh, why don't, like, I guess you don't want to talk to me, right? And Tamaki's like, no, I don't. And he's like, okay, and then he takes a drill and breaks down the door. And how is he gonna fix that? Just, the show is insane. One of my, I do really love the last episode of season 2 where, Yuki and Momo sing this one, which is one of my favorite songs. And there's just an entire chase scene going on in the background. That was great. Also, Zool. When I first watched this, I didn't understand why people were excited for this group to be introduced, and then I read ahead. I'm like, oh, okay. They're nothing but gremlins. But I love them. They are my gremlin children. And I think one of my favorite songs by them, well, actually, I really like 3 by them. I really like You're Mine. I really like Poisonous Gangster and Unbalanced Shadow. But I love the character they get later on in the game in part 4. That's why I need a season 4. We get a bunch of Nagi scenes, which I'm excited for because he's my favorite character. And we get Zool character development. And I love character development. Actually, now that I think about it, I think it starts off, their character development starts off a little bit near the end of part 2 of season 3. After, you know, kidnapping. Yeah, that's right, the Trigger gets kidnapped in season 3. Well, the second half of season 3, which, if anybody has seen the trailer, you saw the clips. That's gonna be, oh boy. It's just, it's so weird how it goes from, in season 1, how it goes from Trigger, like, stealing the Idolish Seven song. Even though it wasn't exactly their fault, they didn't know. It was basically the songwriter's fault. Well, 10, like, thought it sounded like one of Idolish Seven's songs. But he didn't say anything. He's like, oh, I didn't want you to be sad. I still feel like he should have told them. And maybe they would have done something about it. So maybe it's like, that was like a little iffy. That gave me like a little bit iffy on 10. But it goes from like stealing a song to, oh, Momo can't sing because he's worried. Like, oh, like, oh, Yuki probably doesn't want me anymore once he finds his partner. So because of that, he loses his singing voice. To get it back, they want to like show him how much Yuki cares about him. So Yamato goes, oh, you're the guys who are singing Zero's song, who is a singer, an idol who disappeared long ago, who was related to, like not like related, but like knew Kujo and Idolish Seven's songwriter Haruki, Sakura Haruki. That's another thing that I do not want to spoil, because that's later on. Like, about what happens to Haruki. Ooh. So, yeah, so basically Yamato plays the quote-unquote villain, which is one of my favorite scenes. I took a screenshot. It's basically just unhinged Yamato. I think Yuki tries to strangle him in there, so I feel like season 3 is probably just like a payback. Oh my god, that man needs therapy so bad. Who else? Oh yeah, and Mitsuki is over here. I love Mitsuki, and like in season 2, when all these people talking bad about him, he doesn't need to be talked bad about. He's great. I love him. It's amazing. And then like the whole fallout that happens in season 3, that one was painful. But I am really excited to see more of Zool. I really like him. Toma is my favorite character from them. He's like a little puppy. I love him. He's like, oh, I hate everyone. Oh, I hate everyone in Idolish Seven. Oh, I hate everyone in Trigger. And he's like, except Riku. Riku is my favorite. Actually, speaking of Riku, his voice actor is actually the same voice actor as Akutagawa's from Bungo. And I find that really weird because they're so completely opposite. But the one thing they have in common is they both have issues with their lungs. Alright. On to J, which is, oh boy, I'm gonna have trouble pronouncing this one. Jingai-san no Yome. So the premise for this is Hinawa Tomari, a completely ordinary high school boy, is summoned by his homeroom teacher one day and informed that he's been selected to become the wife of a mysterious creature called Kananogi. Despite their uncertainty, the new couple registers their marriage and starts a surprisingly happy new life together, and thus the sugary sweet married life of the soft, fluffy Jingai-san and the ordinary high school boy begins. Alright, this one's a 4 out of 10. It was really confusing. Apparently there are these series of books that are usually like 4 panels, and that's it. And apparently this is what it was based off of, so it was really short. I think like 12 episodes, but each episode was like 4 minutes long. I don't understand why this is a thing. So the premise itself was pretty strange, you know. Just the premise is strange, the show is strange, everything is strange. Basically, these random creatures just show up. One of them looks like, the main one looks like a llama. And they just go through a school, look through a yearbook of people, and just be like, hey, I want to marry this random child. And like, they're 16 years old, and apparently everyone's okay with that. I mean, what would happen if like you were in high school, some random like giant llama creature just walked right in and be like, you're my wife, come here. And then bada bing bada boom, you're married at the age of 16. It's just, I mean, like, the creatures were really cool. I like that. It's only 12 episodes, but I don't know. It was so weird. I watched every episode and I'm like, what is this? What is happening? Why is everybody okay with this? And like the boys, like, everybody's fine. Everybody loves their like marriage partner. Like, oh, I get married, yeah. And they had like a wedding, and the kid is wearing a veil, and they wear rings, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it was so weird. That's the only thing I can explain with the show. It was so weird. I'll probably never rewatch it again. I took it off my watch list afterwards. I was like, what is this? If you're looking for something strange, just one of the strangest things out there, I would say watch it just to like understand why I'm acting this way for this show. It's weird. Alright, for K, I put Kiss Him Not Me. The premise for this is Kei Serenuma is what you call a fujoshi, which I feel like I'm slowly turning into. Maybe a bit, I don't know. When she sees boys getting along with each other, she loves to indulge in wild fantasies. One day, her favorite anime character dies. I felt that. And the shock causes her to lose a ton of weight. Then 4 hot guys at school ask her out, but that isn't exciting to her at all. She'd rather see them date each other. I really like this one. I give this one a 9 out of 10. I watched the dub for this one, and the voice actor for Shinomiya is Midoriya from My Hero. So that was something. That was really interesting. I really liked how the characters worked off of each other. It was really funny. I laughed a lot. I laughed a pretty decent amount of times in this show. I'll probably rewatch it. I really liked it. I remember one episode. So, Serenuma was working on something for, I'm pretty sure it was the culture festival, and Igarashi's just walking by the classroom, looks over, he's like, "Oh, Serenuma, do you need help with that?" And he just climbs through the window into the classroom. It's just like, "Here you go, I'm gonna help you." I'm just like, okay, just climb through a window, why don't you? Why do people climb through windows so many times in anime? But it's really funny. I really liked it. I actually read ahead. I finished the manga. I don't understand why they're not gonna make another season. I mean, if they do, that would be great because then we can like continue the story from the manga. It ended really nicely. It was such a cute ending, and I really liked it. I'm glad I put this on my list. It was really fun. Alright, for L, I put Legend of the Galactic Heroes Dainudes. The premise of this one is thousands of years into the future, humanity has advanced into space. Here it has been divided into 2 countries and 2 different forms of government, the autocracy of the Galactic Empire and the democracy of the Free Planets Alliance. The countries have been at war for 150 years. Near the end of the 8th age of the space calendar, the appearance of 2 geniuses will change history forever. The unstoppable genius Reinhard von Lohengrin and the unbeatable magician Yang Wenli. As heads of the Imperial and Alliance armies, respectively, the 2 will face each other in battle over and over again. Okay, I give this one a 5 out of 10. Reinhard has the same voice actor as Ashiya from the Morose Mononokean, and he's played off as an antagonist. So now, like, every time I watch it, I was like, oh, Evil Ashiya. Well, now that I think of Evil Ashiya, I think of Ichi from Ensemble Stars. I don't understand why the voice actor plays a good character, aka Ashiya, in the Morose Mononokean, and then almost all the other roles he plays are like the villains. Which is weird now, I just say Evil Ashiya a lot. So, I kind of wanted to like the show because it looked good, but it kind of turned into like a more boring version of Star Wars, but not really. I feel the reason I didn't really like this one that much is because I'm not like a huge fan of science fiction. I would always go for like fantasy or something else. And I thought it was good, but then it kept going and delved more into politics. Cause war. I don't like politics. I hate talking about politics. I hate hearing about politics. I just hate politics in general. So that basically turned me off from the show. As it got more political and more political, the less interested in it I got. So basically, I used it as background noise. I looked over a few times, and it was just 3 seasons of politics. It's and like fighting. Okay, fighting I'm cool with. If it's like if it's fighting a bunch and like character development, I'm fine with. But politics for 3 seasons, I cannot do. It got so boring. I mean, if you like science fiction and politics, go for it. You'd like this show. But the writing is good too, but it got so boring because I don't care about politics. It was. I feel like upset because I really wanted to like this show, but it's not for me. Alright, so for M, I put Moriarty the Patriot. The premise for this one is William James Moriarty strategizes to fix the British Empire and its systematic inequity while keeping Sherlock Holmes off his trail. 10 on 10. Love the show. Love Sherlock Holmes. I was so excited because I like this rendition because it focuses more on Moriarty instead of Sherlock, but Sherlock's still in it. I love this show. It was so good. I think my favorite episodes are like the two where they're on the train and both Sherlock and Moriarty have to prove John's innocence because he was accused of murdering something. And I even am starting to read the manga. Like, not all the volumes are out yet. See, I have the first 7, but I really like how this looks. It's really nice looking. And, oh boy, that ending though, it was something else. Like, the ending had Moriarty and Sherlock falling off a bridge into the water. Everybody saying, oh, they're dead. That made me cry. That actually made me cry. I was so upset. And then get to, like, the last episode. Well, not the last episode, the last scene. And, lo and behold, both of them are still alive. It's, like, been 3 months since they've been presumed dead. They're still alive. If I remember correctly, Moriarty has an eye patch over an eye, so maybe something happened to his eye. And oh my gosh, I was like, oh good, they're alive. Are they gonna, like, Moriarty, are you gonna tell your brothers that you were still alive? Sherlock, are you gonna tell John that you were still alive? No, the show ends. I was like, okay, you're not gonna tell them that you're still alive. It's been 3 months. I mean, like, in the BBC one, and in, like, regular, like, the old Arthur Conan Doyle ones, I'm pretty sure it was, like, 2 years. It was, but it just ends. It doesn't keep going. I have heard that there are going to be some OVAs. I don't know when they're going to come out. Maybe by the end of this year or the start of next year. I need to watch those. They need to tell them that they are still alive. Oh, it was so bad. It was awful. I can't even speak clearly because that ending really got to me. Alright, for N, this was a really weird name. I'm gonna pronounce this horribly wrong. Like, awfully wrong. So for N, I put down NAMUAMIDABUTSU UTENA. Weirdest name I have ever come across. The premise for this is, long before superheroes, there were legends. One of them begins with Shaka Niorai, whose bravery and enlightenment once saved humanity forever. But forever is fleeting because Mara, the personification of earthly desires, forges a corrupt coalition with the devil to bring wrath and vengeance to humanity. To counter Mara's cruel attack, Tashikutin and Bontan must join forces with the 13 Buddhas, save humankind in their darkest hour. This one is a 9 out of 10. Well, again, first off, weird name. Really weird name. It's one of the hardest ones to pronounce, but it's a really good show. It's really funny, and, well, at least from what I remember, because it's been a while since I watched this show too. But I do remember it making me laugh. I really liked how the two main characters, oh my gosh, I can't remember their names. Oh, it was Tasha Kutin and Bontan. I really loved how those two worked off each other. They were really entertaining to watch. I loved them. I loved all the other characters too. I think it was only 12 episodes, but I think that 12 episodes got the story across really well. I think this is one of the only ones where I would say it ended on a good note at 12 episodes. I thought it was a perfect length for it. So I would recommend this one. I'm going to have to point down in the description which one is. It's going to be underneath N. You're going to have to look it up if you want to watch it, like, by looking in the description, because just trying to type it out by how I said it, it's going to be very difficult. Right, so for O, I put Orenchi no Furo Jijo. The premise for this is a hot boy mermaid named Wakasa is taking over the bath of a teenage boy named Tatsumi. This cute but selfish freeloader is a perfect match for the cool but tender caring Tatsumi, Let's see how they get by together. This one I gave a 5 out of 10. So this is the only other one on the anime list that is like the J, where it's based off of like a 4-panel book. And this one is also strange. Like the episodes of these ones are also like about 4 minutes long. But at least in this one, 16-year-olds aren't getting married off to llama creatures. What I don't understand is the opening for the show is so good. Like, I would always watch the opening. It looks like it's going to be like a really like deeper meaning anime instead of like what it is, like a cute little anime thing. But it was a strange show. But the opening was, I would say, it's too good for the show. It promises like a really like deep, compelling story, and it looks so good. But then you actually watch the show, and it's nothing like the opening. Honestly, just watch the opening. It's really, really good. It's kind of a disappointment, honestly. I was really hoping for like a better one. For like instance, like the opening for Bungo promises like, you know, a good show, good characters, like, a bunch of action and stuff. I mean, like the Idolish 7 opening is just nothing but a red herring. It's like everybody's happy, but in the show they actually like they all need therapy or like sad a lot. But like this one is also a red herring because it promises something really good and you just get something that's like meh. Alright, so for P, I put down Polar Bear Cafe. The premise for this one is Polar Bear's Cafe revolves around a Canadian white bear that quits his boring job and starts a cafeteria near a zoo. And I give this one a 5 out of 10. Okay, so this episode is like 50-something like episodes long. Oh my god, it gets so boring. It gets so boring. Like, I thought it was interesting at first, and it's like they're really cute. The animals are really cute, and they sound really cute. It looks so really cute, but oh my god, it's so boring. I did like looking up the voice actors because some of them sounded funny. Like, well, not funny, but like I feel like I've like heard them before. Familiar. That's what I was thinking. So I thought that they sounded familiar. I looked it up. Oh, look at that. It's the same voice actors as Ongo, Fitzgerald, and Ronto from Bungo. And just imagining those three running a cafe, that would just be nothing but chaos. Fitzgerald wouldn't do anything. The man, literally in the in Bungo, the man like loses all his money after getting beat up by Octagawa and Atsushi, and then this one episode he gets a bunch of money back, and he's like, oh, I can budget now, and he buys like 1,000 of the same pots, and he doesn't even know how to cook. This man is something else. I remember in the manga he also buys a knife too, and I swear that man needs to put the knife down. I do not trust him with anything sharp. I'm talking about Bungo again. I'm so sorry. But honestly, I thought I would get a kick out of it. Like, those three running a cafe, that would be really funny. But the show itself, Polar Bear Cafe, yes, back on track. It was boring. It was so boring. I thought it was really cute. It was 50 episodes long. Of just nothing interesting happening. Just good old background noise. Good old background noise while drawing or doing anything. Just not something that I would recommend. It probably would help you fall asleep though. Like for Q, I put Qualidea Code. Premise for this is a world where humanity is always at war with the unknown. The kids who were evacuated to a cold sleep facility during the initial invasion decades ago wake up from their slumber to find that they manifested superpowers called the World. To protect Japan from the unknowns appearing from the Tokyo Bay, these kids will start their own battles at the defensive strongholds of Tokyo, Kanagawa, and Chiba. And I gave this one a 2 out of 10. So let me just say this first. If it takes me an entire month to watch the first episode of a show because it's either really confusing which this one is. It's confusing. It's not interesting at the same time. I don't like the characters already. Like, it's probably not a good sign. So it's like, in a month I could finish. In a month, actually, I finished watching both Cells at Work and ReLife. 2 animes in a month. And it took me a month to watch the first episode of this one. I wasn't interested in the show at all. And it's confusing. I don't like the characters. It's like, the animation was good. I really liked the animation. I thought it was really pretty. I just didn't like it. I couldn't get into it. I don't know why. It's not for me. It was not for me. Definitely not. I don't even remember what the opening was like. That's how forgettable. I don't remember any of the characters' names. That's how forgettable this show is. I don't recommend it. No. Do not recommend it. Okay, art is ReLife. The premise for this is Arata Kazaki, 27, quit the job he landed after graduation in only 3 months. Dang. His life did not go well after that. Now his parents are threatening to stop sending money and want him to come back to the country. He has no friend or girlfriend to share his troubles with. As he hits rock bottom, a strange man named Ryo Yoaki appears. Yoaki invites Kazaki to join a societal rehabilitation program for NEETs called ReLife. This program uses a mysterious drug to make him look younger and sends him back to high school for a year. I give this one a 6 out of 10. The premise was pretty interesting. There were some parts that I laughed at because they were pretty funny, but the entire anime I think was just okay. I'll probably never watch it, and there were some issues too. Like, it's only a year. You're only in high school again for a year. What happens to all the friends you make? Do they forget you, or do they just always go like, oh, I wonder what happened to this person, and maybe they go search for you. What if you had a girlfriend and you just disappeared forever? They don't tell anyone. And there's another girl too who's doing the ReLife thing. They don't tell each other that they're doing it, so they can't meet in real life again. Well, not real life, but they can't meet in the future again. It's just I feel like some moral obligations of, like, something, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It just doesn't feel moral to me. It just doesn't make sense. Why would people do this? If I wanted to go back to high school for a year, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't want to do that. I don't want to make new friends and then just never see them again because I'm an adult again. It's like, yes, it's nice that he got 2 of his friends together because they really liked each other, but still, they're never gonna see him again. I think that's pretty awful in my opinion. I'll probably never rewatch this show. I'm glad I watched it, but yeah, I'm not gonna rewatch it. So for S, I put School Babysitters. The premise for this was that Ryuichi and Kotaro are brothers who lost their parents in an airplane crash. They're taken in by the chairman of Morinomiya Academy, who lost her son and daughter-in-law in the same crash, on one condition. Ryuichi has to babysit the kids at the daycare room in the school. This room was opened to help the school's teachers who had kids to take care of, but it suffers from a lack of staff until Ryuichi becomes the first member of the babysitter club formed to solve that problem. 8 out of 10. So cute. Oh my god, it's so adorable. I love it. Oh my god. Also, the chairman's hair, her hair, is just like huge. Giant gray afro. But oh my god, the characters are really good. They're so cute. It's so cute. I would recommend this one. However, the reason I did give it an 8 out of 10 is like the baby crying definitely got irritating after a while. Like, babies are gonna cry, but it's really, really high pitched, and I had to turn the volume down a few times. It was a little bit ear piercing, but honestly, really, really, really cute. I would recommend watching it at least once. The characters work off well each other. I love the chairman. Like, he thinks that she's gonna be some old grumpy lady, but she's actually really, really sweet. Oh boy. For T is The Case Files of Jeweler Richard. So The premise for this is, one night, a college student with a strong sense of justice, Seigi Nakata, saved a gorgeous foreigner, Richard, who was being harassed by some drunks. When Seigi found out that Richard was a jeweler, he asked for an appraisal on a ring with a shady history, one which his grandmother had kept secret until she died. The appraisal had revealed her past, truth, and desire. It led Seigi to work as a part-time employee for Richard's jewelry store, a jewelry stranger in Ginza. While solving various mysteries, the relationship between Richard and Seigi gradually changes. I love this show. But actually, before I go into it, T was probably one of the hardest ones to look up because they counted the word the. So for this one, it wouldn't be underneath C for like case files or J for like Julia Richard. It would be underneath T for the. So I could either pick an anime that starts with the or an anime that just starts with T, like Serene, which is like an anime about archery, apparently coming back for season 2, which I just discovered the other day. So excited for that. Anyways, back to Julia Richard. It's such an underrated gem. Get it, gem? And I'm so upset it's only 12 episodes long. It needs to be longer. Luckily, the light novels and the manga are coming out, and I already have the first 2 volumes, and I honestly love the covers. I love how pretty they are. They're so pretty. I already pre-ordered the next 2 volumes and the first 2 volumes of the light novels. And already, like, even like the second one, the first one mainly follows along with the anime. They do make some changes in the anime. But the second one is like 2 different stories. They're not even in the anime at all. So I'm really excited. Because like they go differently. It's different. And they add more into the manga and the light novels from what I heard. And from what I've read so far. I needed more content for the show because it's such a great show. I don't understand why more people aren't talking about this. They talk about like the more popular shows, but I feel like this needs to be popular. I'm just relieved that they're finally translating the manga and the light novels into English because I'll finally get to read them. And I do really like the part in the anime, like near the ending, where Richard has to go back to England for family issues, and so he's like, "No, like I don't want to. I'm not leaving it off like this. Just I'm gonna leave college for a bit, probably spend money that I don't have, fly all the way to England and search for him." I'm like, okay, you're gonna fly to England. You have no idea where this man is. You have no idea where he is. You're just gonna go in there and then just gets kidnapped by Richard's cousin. So that was a fun part. Like, and then like quote unquote kidnapped him. I'm like, he's in a country he doesn't know where he is. So he kind of has to follow the cousin, or else he's gonna get lost or actually kidnapped. And then Richard somehow finds him. So that's, I don't know how, but like he finds him, and he's like, okay, you're coming with me. You're getting away from my cousin. I think one of my favorite parts too is like they're in a hotel. Seigi got sick, I think, because he couldn't sleep well or something. And so apparently Rich's cousin has accidentally left his phone in Seigi's bag. So using the tracker device, he goes to he finds them at the hotel. So he calls and he's like, "Oh, hey, by the way, you still have my phone. I was able to track you." And he's telling us, like, Richard takes the phone, yells into it saying, "I don't want to see you. I don't want to see you. I don't want you to talk to us. Leave us alone." Takes the phone, actually breaks it with his 2 hands, with his 2 bare hands. Takes the flip phone just like a stick, and just throws it on the ground, grabs Seigi's wrist, and he's about to jump out, jump off a balcony. He is insane. He's insane. I mean, Seigi was like, "No, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna jump off a balcony." Eventually, everything gets resolved. They almost get married. Honestly, if they did, I wouldn't mind. Okay, Tanimata was cool. She's a cool character. But even she in the manga are like, "Oh wow, I always thought that you and Richard were a couple." Like, honestly, if they do become a couple in, like, the light novels or in the manga, I'd be 100% for it. They work so well off each other, and they're so cute together. And, oh my gosh, the last episode. So, you know how he's called Sigi Nakata? Nakata is actually his stepfather's name. It's not his actual father's name. His actual father left, and then he sees him again. The father comes back. He's like, "Oh, a son should always help his father out. You work for a jeweler now. You're gonna help me out with some money." And like through the entire episode, Siggy isn't like telling Richard anything of this, and he has a dream where he stabs his father, and I'm like, maybe he should have done that because his father has been just stalking him. Like he finds out where he lives, and asks for like a key there because he's like, "Oh, I'm his father," yada yada yada. Stalks him towards his school, and it's like sees him talking with Tanimoto, and it's like, "Oh, is that your girlfriend?" No, she isn't. But why are you stalking him in the first place? Eventually, like Richard figures it out. He eventually figures it out and says like, "You should have told me. Like, you really should have told me. I was so mad. Like, it's because he literally says it's because I love you so much. I'm angry with you because you didn't tell me about this." It's like, why is it okay for you to fly halfway across the world to try and find me and not tell me about how your biological father stalking you? Luckily, we get his stepfather, and the biological father goes away, and the stepfather is so much better. His biological father is a piece of crap, so he has his own family issues. Richard has his own family issues with everything, with like an inheritance, and like I felt so bad. Like he goes through so much crap until like he finally figures out like he's gonna run a jewelry shop, and he stays there, and Seiki continues working for him from how the show ended. And oh my gosh, I highly recommend this one. You guys have to watch this show. It's so good. Alright, I have to stop talking about it. For you, I put Uchi Tama. The premise for this one is Tama and Friends, Have You Seen My Tama? Debuted in 1983 as a popular character on stationery and accessories. Tama, the beloved neighborhood cat who is known for the patch on his forehead and yellow ears, has now taken on a human form. Kind of. In a city somewhere in Japan, there's a flyer often seen on 3rd Street with a picture of a cat with a kinked tail bearing the words, "Have you seen Tama?" A young boy gazes at the flyer, but he has fluffy ears on his head. Watch the dogs and cats from 3rd Street take on a human form and get up to some mischief. 6 out of 10. Not much to say about this one. It kind of goes back and forth between showing them like as cats and then them in their human forms. It was pretty short. It was a pretty short anime. It was pretty cute. It was a bit weird at times, but I think like mainly because it goes like back and forth. But so it wasn't like bad weird. It was kind of like just confusing a bit. It's a nice little show to watch when you're bored. Probably want to watch it again. I am glad I watched it. It was something. Yeah, not much to say about this one. I'm gonna need a drink because it's been long. Okay, we're almost there. For a V, I put down Voice of Fox. The premise for this is the ghost singer with the fox mask who can carry a tune and the idol who can't sing at all take on the world of entertainment together. Hugh Lee hides his face and the ghost sings with his amazing voice. Kankei is good looking but can't sing to save his life. I know the feeling. I cannot sing to save my life. The two of them will butt heads with each other and their rivals as they climb the stairway to stardom. I give this one a 9 out of 10. It's definitely one of the animes that needs a second season. One season isn't enough. But what I did like was like when I first read about the premise, I thought that Hugh and Kong were like gonna become friends. I thought they were gonna become friends. Like, oh, I'm gonna go stay and you like I can't say like, oh yeah, I'll become friends. No, that doesn't happen. They just hate each other, and I actually like that because it's something different. it's something really different. I really like that, how it's different. But the producer guy, oh my god, he is the worst. He is awful. I would say maybe as bad as Tsukumo, but at least he doesn't try to murder someone. I mean, like the producer. The producer doesn't try to murder someone. Tsukumo does. Oh boy. But I really like the characters in the show. Hugh Lee goes through so much crap. I feel so bad for him. And he goes through all this. He goes through all this crap, and it doesn't even have a happy ending. Well, kind of happy ending. It kind of ends on like a bittersweet note, I would say. Like he goes through all these struggles, and he still doesn't get what he wants. Like he doesn't really get what he wants in the end. It's kind of sad, honestly. Like with all the stuff that he goes through, he kind of has a mentor in the end, but not really at the same time. It just needs a second season. Like it came out in 2018, so I don't know if it's going to get a second season, but if it does, I would be like very grateful for it. I feel like it needs to be more. I really do like the animation, and there are some dream sequences with Hewley, and I thought that was pretty good. The dream sequences were really creative. I just need more. I just need a second season for this. I would recommend it. I do recommend it. I would say watch this one. For W, I put Woodpecker Detective's Office. The premise for it is the end of the Meiji era. The genius poet Ishikawa Takuboko, who's struggling financially, starts a detective business out of his lodging in response to a certain murder case. He calls it the Woodpecker Detective's Office. The ghost of the 12-story tower in Asakusa, the man-eating figure who wanders the streets on snowy nights. Takuboko involves himself in one bizarre case after another with his hometown acquaintance Kendachi Kiyosuke as his assistant. 6 out of 10. I watched this one like a long time ago. I do remember liking it, but basically I forgot what happened in it like a month later. I would say watch it at least once, just to say you watched it. Probably won't watch it. And like in the beginning, it kind of like they say what happens, like in the end. Like, by the way, like this is the story of my friend, and he dies at the end. Like, oh, okay, great. It's kind of like the case study of Vanitas. That's actually a really good show too. Like, Neue is just over here saying like, yeah, I killed Vanitas. Oh, okay, so we're just gonna, get attached to this character. You're gonna kill him, unless he actually didn't kill him. But I don't know. The anime hasn't gotten that far yet, which I also need to watch that one. But yeah, Woodpecker Detective's Office. I would say watch it. Like just cause why not? It's not one of my favorites. Like I'm glad I watched it. I just won't watch it again. For X, I put down Xuan. Oh gosh, I am so sorry for pronouncing this horribly wrong. Xuan Yuan Sword Luminary. The premise for this is when the words Tayabi conquers Taichin were inscribed into the Wheel of Taie, one of the 10 artifacts, history changed dramatically. The Taibei Empire mass-produced, constructs, and conquered the Shinzo region with a powerful army. Seeking to expand the territory further, they plotted to conquer the world. It's the 99th year of the Taibei calendar. The battle between the Taibei Empire and the rebellion continues. A rebel girl wielding the legendary Xuan Yan sword rises against the Empire's constructs that run on engine power. 0 out of 10. I did not like this one at all. I didn't think any of it was redeemable in my opinion. It's the only one on this list that has a 0 out of 10 rating, and you have to be pretty bad for me to put down a 0 out of 10. Like I barely made it through the first episode. I had to put it as background noise. It was like the opening was bad, the writing is bad, the editing was strange, the voice acting was like okay, the characters were bad. It was that okay. Usually that never happens. Usually I can watch an episode in a day, unless it's like the Q one, which took me an entire month. Usually, I never struggle through the first episode. It's just, I don't know, the way that they cut between the scenes were like so awkward. I don't know what it was. It was awkward. I didn't like it. I don't remember anything that happened in the show. I like just forgot about it afterwards. It's there. It's the only one for X too. I couldn't pick anything else. It's just like kind of upset because it looked like it was gonna be decent. Like I thought it was gonna be good. No, it wasn't. It wasn't good at all. I would not recommend this one. Do not watch this one. Alright. So for why I put You and Me, premise is friends since kindergarten and seemingly like blood brothers. You and Me follows the lives of Yuta and Yuki Asaba, Shun Matsuokan, and Kanami Sukuhara, as well as transfer student Chizuru Tachibana, who joins the circle of friends. Together we will watch as they laugh, dance, cry, and share the memories of growing up together in everyday life. Alright, I give this one an 8 out of 10. It's really charming, and there was apparently a sequel series afterwards, and I watched that one too right after this one. It was so sweet, honestly. I love like how all the characters work off each other, and they have different personalities, even like the twin brothers. And like it was really charming to watch. I just loved how, like all the stuff they go through. And I would recommend this. Like I don't know if I would rewatch it because there are definitely plenty of animes that I do prefer over this one, but I'm really glad I watched it. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. I would recommend watching it at least once. Like I'm really glad I did. And it has been a while since I've watched it, so I can't really remember what happens in it. But I would say like just watch it at least once. Alright. Finally at the end of this long list, we have Zombieloan. Premise for this one is, what would you do if you could see death? Mitsuri Kita could see rings around other people's necks, and when those rings turn black, death follows. So when two boys from her class, Chika Akatsuki and Shiro Tachibana, show up with black rings around their necks, Mitsuri doesn't know what to do. She tries to warn them, but they don't need it, because they are the ones death needs to hide from. With a certain loan keeping them alive, they need the money to pay back the debt. And when the two zombie slayers learned of Mitsuru's unique ability, they decided to use her for their own profit and gain. So, unfortunately, we don't end off with like a big bang. I gave this one a 4 out of 10. And like I thought the idea was gonna be pretty interesting. And it's like in the style of I think 90s, either 90s or 80s anime, so it's like that old style. And like the first 2 episodes were like really good. Like I thought they were pretty good. I loved how the two guys worked off each other, and it was really interesting how like they could still find like they lose an arm and all they have to do is like reattach their arm. Like, hey, look at that, I got my arm back. Well then that could happen in Bungo. Anyway, I'm not gonna delve into that. It's just one like I'm pretty sure it was episode 3. This one character appears, and she made me very like really uncomfortable. Like all like the stuff that she like the actions that she does towards what's her name? Yeah, you see I can't even remember their names. To Mitsuru Kita, like what she does to that girl, it's really uncomfortable to watch, in my opinion. Like I use this as background noise. I barely looked at it as doing like if that character that I just mentioned wasn't on screen, then I would watch it. But if she appears, I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna watch this anymore. Like she just made me very uncomfortable. Why would you add this character in it? I did not like her at all. It basically turned me away from it. Like because she exists. Like if she wasn't in the show, I would probably really like the show. Because I thought like the first 2 episodes were actually really good. But then she gets introduced and it goes all downhill. There's another reason I didn't like the show. Like, well, another reason I didn't like the opening for the show. Like, I turned it on, like you know how they have like a bit of the show and then they have the opening. The opening is literally just a guy screaming, just like Screamo opening for an anime. Like, I would never think that, but here it is. It, like, I thought it was funny at first, and then I'm like, I'm gonna skip it because I don't want a guy screaming into my ear every time I try to watch an episode. But yeah, I finished the show, took it off my watch list. I would not recommend it. Honestly, don't watch it. Just don't watch it. So there it is. There's the entire list. I am not going to tell you how long it took me to watch all 26 animes. I'm glad I did. For some of them, I'm glad I did put down. Like, I really, like, before, you can tell, I really enjoyed Idolish 7. Oh boy, that was such a red herring. I was prepared for, like, a calm show, just singing, and then I get murder. Attempted murder, not actual murder. Attempted murder and therapy, and like, everybody needs therapy, everybody needs a hug. This guy is suffering, this other guy is suffering, everybody's suffering. This guy gets hit in the head. Yuki buys a baseball bat, doesn't even use it, which is like, he should have used it. Honestly, if I would have to pick my favorite animes from this list, I would have to say Bungo. And I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is one of the 3 shirts I have that is Bungo related. So I would say Bungo is definitely one of my favorites. I would say Elegant Yokai Apartment Life. I need to rewatch that one. I really like that one. Given was really good. It made me cry. It will make you cry unless you were a heartless jerk. How to Keep a Mummy was really good. Idolish 7 is good. I even got some stickers. Oops, there goes my. Because Redbubble is a saint. My friend regrets introducing it to me because I will buy a bunch of stickers. I bought so many stickers. But see, this one, and this one are all from Idolish 7. This one is from The Royal Tutor, which is also great. You should watch that one. Morosu Mononoke, which you should watch. This one's from Bungo, and this one's from The Case Files of Julie Richard, which is also on the list, which I would recommend watching. That one's definitely one of my other favorites. Kiss Him Not Me, that one was really good. Moriarty the Patriot, definitely. As I said, Case Files of Julie Richard, and that's basically like the ones that I will, the ones that you like definitely need to watch. In my opinion, it was so good. Definitely some of my favorites on this list. I am kind of glad I did this because, again, like, it introduced me to some animes that I never knew I would like until I, watched them. And I'm really glad I did this. I will never do this again though because it was a lot, and I don't want to be in more fandoms than I already am, which I am currently, I would say, 32 fandoms. So I don't need to add more to the list. So, anyways, again, I'm going to put down the list of the animes in the description, so if you want to watch them before watching this video, because as I said, there were spoilers in here. So, there will be down in the description, and I hope you enjoyed the video. This is definitely my longest video I did. And it was fun. It was pretty fun to make this, and just have me right into a camera for an hour and 18 minutes. About how everybody in Idolish 7 needs therapy, and Kunakita from Bungo needs all the hugs in the world, especially what happens to him in the anime, which I'm not going to delve deep into, because oh my god, this poor man needs a break. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Goodbye.